Hello and welcome to the Horsemanship and Mindset podcast with your host, Kimberly Dunn of Idlewild Horsemanship and Mindset Coaching. This podcast is here to bring you the very best in tips, tricks, and advice to help you better understand yourself, your mindset, and your horse, because your horsemanship starts with you. Let's go. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Horsemanship and Mindset podcast. I'm delighted to have you here and I hope you've had a delightful week. In today's episode, we're looking at judgment, worrying about what other people are going to think of you, worrying about being validated all the time because A, it's a hot topic, and B, it comes up a lot for people, and I would just like to address it here and now for you. So if you found yourself riding your horse and suddenly you are painfully aware that somebody else is watching you. So whether this is at a show, whether it's at home, whether it's at a clinic or you're having a lesson, whatever and wherever it is, you're probably thinking things like, oh God, they're watching me. Oh, I bet that didn't look very good. They probably think I don't know what I'm doing. What if they think I'm being unfair to my horse? What if I make the wrong decision? What if they start talking about me afterwards? And suddenly, when you have all those thoughts like bouncing around your head, you are not actually in the moment anymore and you're not riding your horse anymore. You are riding while simultaneously trying to manage an imaginary audience in your head. And that is what I want to talk about today. Because ultimately, this is imaginary. This is all an imaginary scenario, firstly, that's going on. It's not real. Your brain is making it up. And it's really flipping unhelpful. Worrying about what other people think is one of those things that can absolutely flipping destroy your confidence around horses and on your horse. And it can really seriously hold you back from actually enjoying yourself, but also, achieving your goals and doing what you want to do with your horse. And it just totally overshadows the time that you spent together that you are actually supposed to be enjoying. It's crackers. It's so crackers. And the interesting thing about this is that it often disguises itself as something else. So you might think, oh, I've got a confidence problem, but actually you've got a validation problem. So you might find yourself not trusting yourself to make a decision about your horse, whether that is ridden or whether it's your horse's health or their routine or whatever, because you need somebody else to agree with it first. And you might find yourself constantly looking around for reassurance that you are doing the right thing. And maybe even you might feel absolutely fine until somebody else walks into the arena or onto the yard, because suddenly their opinion is coming into play. And it doesn't matter who they are. It can be an instructor. It can just be another person at the yard. It can be someone on social media. But either way, that stuff, God, it holds you back. And so I'm here to shout at you about it today. Because what I want to happen here, having listened to this podcast today, is that you're able to let go of this. Because I don't want you to become someone that you genuinely just don't think, oh, I can't speak. I cannot get my words out today. I don't want you to become someone who genuinely doesn't care what anyone thinks. This isn't about being, oh, I don't care if anyone judges me. I want you to think, okay, this person can have an opinion, but guess what? I'm still okay. I can function. I can still have a nice time. Okay, that's what we want. So why do we care so much? I want to talk about that because I want you to understand why this happens. Because as always, and I always say this, I know, but you actually being able to understand why this happens really does then give you the ability to be able to zoom out of a situation and kind of look at it for what it is, rather than you being totally consumed by the feeling or the worry. So you're not weird for caring about what other people think. You're not unique for caring about what other people think. This is, as I've already said, really, really common. Humans are social creatures. We just are. Even if you think you're not, even if you think you're introverted and actually you don't like hanging out with people, ultimately you are a social creature that does rely on interactions with others one way or another. And for thousands and thousands of years, as a human, belonging to a group or a tribe really mattered. And being rejected by that group/tribe could genuinely have consequences for your survival. Because if you are kicked out, you're very likely not going to be able to survive on your own. So as a result of that very primal part of our brain is sensitive to social cues. Okay. So having thoughts like, who's watching me? Do they approve? Did I do something wrong? Am I being accepted? Am I safe? Those thoughts then pop up and then they're normal. But the thing is your brain isn't necessarily distinguishing between someone might have an opinion about my riding and I'm in danger of rejection. And so something as harmless as someone watching you ride can trigger a surprisingly massive response in you, not only in your brain with the thoughts that you have, but in your nervous system as well. So then you get those feelings of anxiety, etc. And then, of course, you've got the horsey equestrian world, that culture around it. Horses are incredibly visible creatures. Obviously, they're quite big. And whenever you're doing something with them, it's people's eyes are drawn to it. People can see what you're doing. They can hear your conversations. They can watch your training. And obviously then, we add into that mix the joy of social media as well. And then there can be this unspoken hierarchy of who's the better rider, whose horse goes better, who's more experienced, who's using the right, quote unquote, correct, quote unquote, equipment, who's training, again, the right, quote unquote, correct, quote unquote, way, who's making the right, correct decision. And then if you're someone who doubts yourself, mix all of that in a nice little anxiety soup, and it's just a breeding ground for comparison, isn't it? It's a flipping nightmare. So let's now then look at validation. Because here's where things get even more interesting and just fun. And let's add some more to this anxiety soup. Because when you don't trust your own judgment, then you start outsourcing it. Okay. And often, we care about our horses, we love our horses, and we want to do right by them. So this then heightens even more this need for validation and for people to agree with you and say, yes, you're doing the right thing. And that adds that, kind of feeds into that lack of trust in yourself. So in outsourcing it, you might be asking people, oh, do you think that was okay? Should I have done that differently? Do you think I made the right decision? Would you have done that? Does he look okay? Was that the right thing to do? And while obviously there is absolutely nothing wrong with asking for advice, it is important that we do, research things and get advice where we can. Knowing when to seek help, of course, it's a strength, isn't it? We can't do it all on our own. However, there is a difference between you seeking information and you seeking permission, underline, to trust yourself. And that is a bit that I want you to notice. Are you seeking information, or are you seeking permission to trust yourself? So, yeah, please notice this. If you constantly need someone to tell you you're doing the right thing before you can feel okay in what you're doing, you're never actually building trust in yourself. You're just outsourcing it all the time. You're teaching your brain, you are programming your brain that you can't decide whether you're okay. Somebody else has got to tell you. You're totally giving your power away there. And the thing is with that is you need more assurance then, and then you need more reassurance and more reassurance, and it just becomes a loop of reassurance because the more you outsource your confidence, the less confident you feel on your own without someone else, without that opinion. It's let's add that to the anxiety soup, shall we? Now, let's look at the other thing to add to this anxiety soup, which is us thinking that we are mind readers, okay? And making stories up in our heads. So we assume we know what someone else is thinking. Hey, suddenly we're psychic. Someone looks over at you and your brain's going, they think I'm rubbish. Someone talks to another person and, oh, they're talking about me. Someone laughs. Of course, they're laughing at you. Someone gives you a funny look. They clearly think I'm doing the wrong thing. Are you psychic? Are you actually psychic? Are you a mind reader? You don't know. You do not know what this person is thinking or saying or responding to. You are taking a tiny little piece of information and making it about you and filling in the rest of the story. And your brain will generally fill in the story that matches what you already believe. Okay? This is where your reticular activating system, your RAS, your brain filters, come into play. I've talked about this quite a few times on other podcast episodes, but you have a brain filter system in place to distort, delete, and generalize information because your brain receives so much information every second. It needs to filter it out, otherwise your brain will just melt. So and it's all based on your beliefs, okay, and conditioning and other things, experiences. If you believe you're rubbish, if you believe everybody else is better than you, and if you believe that other people's opinions matter, guess what? Your brain's going to filter in things that match up with that and filter out things that don't match up with that, okay? So if somewhere inside your brain and in this filter system you've set things up as I'm not a very good rider, guess what? You are much more likely to interpret neutral things, totally neutral, as evidence of that belief. It is confirmation bias in action, okay? So your brain is looking for evidence that proves the story it's already telling, and it's filtering out everything else. So I want you to start asking yourself, what do I actually know? Not, what do I think that they think? So not, what if they're judging me? But again, what do I actually know? Because that question can create an enormous amount of space. So, saying to yourself, is it a fact or is it an opinion that they're talking about me right now? It's an opinion. You don't know. You absolutely have no idea whether it's a fact that's going on right now. So, yeah, I hope that's given you a bit of a reframe on that. The other one is that you are probably dramatically overestimating how much other people are paying attention to you. Okay? And it's a psychological phenomenon called the spotlight effect. So we tend to feel like we are under a spotlight and that other people are noticing our mistakes, our awkward, cringy moments, and our imperfections far more than they actually are. And it sounds crackers, and you're probably hear it and think, oh no, I wouldn't be that, I wouldn't be that self-absorbed. But obviously we've got to be a bit, because that's how we stay alive. And we just assume there's this spotlight on us and everybody's watching us. But guess what? They're not. When you are at the yard and you're hanging out with your horse, how much time are you genuinely spending analysing somebody else's riding? You might notice, you might see something, and you might have a little opinion, and you might even think, I wouldn't do it that way. But then 5 minutes later, guess what? You are thinking about your own horse, your own life, what you're having for dinner, do you need to go to the co-op or not on the way home, and whether you remembered to put your hay order in. Like, that's what's going on in real life for you, okay? And other people are doing the same. Yes, occasionally somebody might judge you. They might genuinely think you're making the wrong decision. They might dislike your riding. They might disagree with how you handle your horse. But here's the reframe on that. They're allowed to. They are allowed to. But their opinion does not mean it's the truth about you. It doesn't mean that. So leading from that into this next thing that I'd like you to think about is that you don't need everyone to agree with you. You do not need that. You do not need everybody else in the world to approve of you. You don't. You don't need that to stay alive. You don't need that to be happy. Confidence isn't, I know without a doubt that everybody in the world approves of me. Everybody approves of what I'm doing with my horse. Okay, confidence is, I know not everyone will approve of me. And you know what? I can be okay with that. I can handle that. It's a totally different thing. One of them comes from that self-trust and that self-regulation. The other one comes from that need of everybody to approve of you. Because the thing is your goal, if your goal in life is never to be judged by anyone ever, you don't want anyone ever to judge you. You want everybody to always believe that you are wonderful and you are doing the right thing, etc., then you're setting yourself an impossible task. Impossible. Because you cannot control other people's thoughts. You cannot control whether somebody approves of you. You cannot control whether somebody else thinks you're a good rider. And you cannot control whether somebody agrees with your decisions. As I've already said, we all have these filter systems in place in our head, don't we? And they are all based upon our own lived experiences, our own conditioning, our own belief systems, okay? We are all individual. We do not go around agreeing with every single human we meet because we have our own way of looking at the world. So how could you possibly control what anybody thinks of you when they have a certain way of viewing the world? But here's what you can control. You can control what you do with their opinion. You can hear it, you can consider it, and you can decide whether it has value to you. And then you can let it go. Oh my goodness. I hope by this point you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking, okay, I feel a bit better now about worrying about other people, because now I've got a bit of a better understanding of what's happening and why. And hopefully now you've got a few more kind of perspectives on it. But here's another one I want you to think about. Would I actually go to this person for advice? So here we are. We're giving all of this enormous weight to the opinions of different people. Okay. How many of these people would you actually want advice from? How many of these people would you want to ride your horse or train your horse? Would you send your horse to them for training? So let's say somebody criticizes your riding. Okay, thanks for your opinion. But would you ask them to train your horse? Would you ask them to help you with your confidence? Would you ask them to make an important decision about your horse? Because if the answer to that is no, why are you giving their hypothetical opinion so much authority and so much weight? Why are you giving your energy to that person, to their opinion? You do not have to take criticism from someone just because they happen to have an opinion. Equally, you don't have to reject every opinion just because you're scared of judgment. We like to have a little balance around here. So have a think about, okay, is this useful? Is this coming from someone knowledgeable? Does it align with my values and what I know about my horse? And if yes, great. Learn from it. Maybe your ego took a little hit there, but if it's going to help you grow and it's going to help your horse grow and it's going to help you feel more connected, etc., great. Learn from it. If not, leave it. Leave it. You don't need it. You do not need it. Also, just to add to that, you know, with you worrying about, what other people say and think or their opinions, etc., another good way to kind of look at that is generally if somebody is more experienced than you, more knowledgeable, the chances are they will be looking at you and thinking, okay, I've been there. If they've got a growth mindset, they'll be thinking, I've been there, good on her for doing it this way or for trying that, or they'll want to help. They won't be looking down on you. Someone's got more experience or is more skilled. They know what it takes to get there. Okay. Now, your horse. Let's look at your horse here in this situation. So all of this stuff is going on in your brain. All of this stuff. So we've got this little anxiety soup going on. Who is this about at the end of the day? This is about your horse. Your poor old horse is stood there. They're just thinking about carrots and when their dinner is and where their friends are. You've got this massive anxiety soup going on in your brain. And when you're worrying about being watched, what happens to your horse? Your attention leaves the relationship with your horse. So you're thinking about, oh, how do I look? What's everyone saying? Am I sitting up? Oh, I hope they're not looking at me and saying I look like a sack of potatoes or whatever. So you're thinking that instead of, what's my horse telling me? How's my horse feeling? You're thinking, oh, I hope that looked good, instead of, did that help my horse? You're thinking, will they think I'm a good rider? Instead of, was I clear to my horse? Did I communicate clearly just then? And that is a real shift that I would like you to start tapping into. Because again, the goal here isn't for you to perform your very best horsemanship for everyone to be approved by all. Your goal is to effectively communicate with your horse. This is what it's all about at the end of the day, isn't it? Because your horse does not give a damn about whether or not you looked impressive. They don't care about that. Your horse cares. Are you being clear? Are you being consistent? Are you being fair? Are you actually present with them in that moment? And are you listening to them? So the next time you feel yourself becoming hyper aware of, whoa, who's watching me? Bring your attention back into the moment. Look at your horse, your literal horse that is underneath you or next to you that you are working with right now, not all the other bloody people in the arena or on the other side of the gram. Notice your breathing. Notice your seat. Ask yourself, what does my horse need from me right now? That's your job. Not managing the audience. We don't care about the audience. We care about the horse. Flipping heck, that was exhausting. Right, okay. So let's give you some practical things now that you can take away, because I've just done a lot of explaining to you about what's going on with all of that, what's going on with your anxiety soup, and, why you think the way you do, and all the different kind of possibilities and reframes that you can bring into that when you hopefully better understand why this is happening. So let's look at changing this pattern for you. So number one, I want you to think about catching the thought. So notice it. So when that pops up, I think they're judging me. Don't argue with it. Just notice it. Just notice, oh, here we go. It's happening again. Do not, though. We're going to notice with compassion. Okay? Don't beat yourself up about it. Notice it. Okay? The thoughts popping up. I'm worried about them worrying I'm worried about them watching me. Then let's start separating the facts from the stories you're telling, from the mind reading that's probably happening. Ask yourself, what do I know? What do I know? What's a fact? What am I assuming? Is this a fact or is this an opinion? So the fact is they looked at you. Oh my goodness, how dare they? The story that you're telling yourself, or the little bit of mind reading you're doing, is, oh God, they think I'm terrible. And they're not the same thing, are they? Next, ask whose opinion you're actually worried about. Whose judgment matters to you, really? And why? Because sometimes we discover we're terrified of the opinion of somebody we don't actually respect. Again, would you ask them to train your horse? Probably not. Next thing, choose your own measurement of success. So instead of asking yourself, did I look good? Ask yourself, was I present then? Was I clear? Did I listen to my horse? Did I keep my horse and myself safe? Did I learn something? Those are much healthier measures of success for you. Okay, here's another one which you're probably not going to love, but it will help. It will help you. So practice being seen. Oh, I know. I can hear you cringing. I can hear you cringing from then. There's me look trying to mind read you. You might not be cringing at all. So it might feel uncomfortable, but if you always avoid riding when people are around, and I know this is going to be some of you listening that do this, your brain is never going to learn. I can be watched and I can still be okay. Like I can still concentrate on my horse. I can still be relaxed. So practice it. And you don't have to throw yourself into the deep end. Ride when someone else is in the arena, maybe. Do something you're slightly nervous about when somebody else is watching. You're allowed to make mistakes. You are a human. Let yourself make a mistake here and there. Oh my goodness, guess what? You're not going to die. Don't immediately apologise or explain yourself or ask the person if that was okay. Just allow your nervous system to start experiencing being seen. You survived. Guess what? I survived being seen. That is how you build evidence. I'm saying guess what a lot today, aren't I? I don't know where that's come from in my brain. Apologies if it's annoying. Oh, look, there's me apologising. I'm worried about being seen and saying guess what. Okay, here's another one for you. Stop asking for reassurance immediately. Before you ask someone, oh, was that okay? Stop. Ask yourself, what do I think? And give yourself a chance to answer first. You can still seek professional advice if you're having a lesson. Yeah, for goodness sake, ask. But give your own judgment a seat at the table, not just everybody else. This is about you, remember. And here are a few more reframes, finally, that I would like to leave you with today. Having been on this exhausting journey with me in this podcast episode today. I get a bit passionate about this one because I know it pops up a lot for people and it's just so unnecessary. So that's why I get a bit shouty about this one. Okay, so write these down if you want. Save them in your phone. I don't know, do whatever you need to do to remember these things, okay? Someone else's opinion is not a fact. Someone else's opinion is not a fact. Next one. I do not need everybody to agree with me. I do not need everyone to agree with me. I can be judged and I can still be okay. I can be judged and I can still be okay. I do not have to prove to everybody that I'm a good rider. I do not have to prove to everybody that I'm a good rider. My job is to communicate with my horse, not perform for an audience. My job is to communicate with my horse, not perform for an audience. I can still seek advice without people outsourcing my decision making. I can still seek advice without outsourcing my decision making. Being nervous doesn't mean I'm doing something wrong. Being nervous doesn't mean I'm doing something wrong. And finally, the best one, I am allowed to make a decision, learn from it, and then change my mind. Because that, people, listeners, that's self-trust, okay? And self-trust doesn't mean I will always make the perfect decision every single time without fail. Self-trust means I trust myself to deal with whatever happens next. And this is a big one. Trusting yourself, self-trust is a big deal, okay? Trusting that you've got this, whatever happens. And that is so much more powerful than what anyone else can tell you. You actually trusting in yourself is so powerful. So if you've been worrying what other people think when you ride, if you find yourself constantly looking for reassurance, and if you feel like you need someone to tell you you're doing the right thing all the time, please know, and I hope you know after listening to this, that it's something you can work on. You do not have to spend the rest of your life trying to become confident enough that nobody's opinion bothers you. It's not realistic. But you can practice all of the things that we talked about today. And also, we can work on building the kind of confidence where someone can disagree with you, someone can watch you, heaven forbid, someone can have an opinion on you, oh my God, and you can actually still trust yourself. All of that can happen, and you can still, at the end of the day, go, do you know what? I trust myself. And if that's something you'd like support with, I'm currently taking on a small number of questions before the end of the summer for some one-to-one horsemanship and mindset coaching packages. Before the summer finishes, because it is on its way out now. So we'll work on the confidence, overthinking, the nervous system side of things, your relationship with your horse, and of course, most importantly, building that self-trust and that internal sense of, you know what, I can handle this. So head to the link in my bio on all the socials, and that is where you'll find where you can apply to work with me, or you can email me at info@outerwildhorsemanship.com. And if this episode made you think, oh my God, that's me, I really genuinely hope that it helped you today. And if you know anybody that struggles with this, please send this to them, and I hope it helps them too. And until next week, please remember, your horse does not need you to impress everyone. They just need you to be present with them. So please, if nothing else, just tap into that. I really, truly hope that you enjoyed this episode and that it was helpful. And I will see you in another episode next week. Over and out.